Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video is a recap of my weekly fragrance rotation. So these are going to be 7 fragrances that I wore last week, just about the 3rd week of September here. I believe today is the 25th, so I think the 18th through the 24th, something like that. Starting off with Monday. So I got this one in recently, did a haul video, wore it as my scent of the day on Monday and a few times during the evening throughout the week last week. This is Lattafa Asad. So I did get a compliment on this one from a guy first thing at walking into work on Monday. I did enjoy wearing this quite a bit. The first time putting it on, I had a hard time distinguishing it from Sauvage Elixir. I could tell a certain difference in quality, but especially after the initial opening, which is not quite one for one. The mid and dry down, however, got quite a bit closer to that enjoyable, aromatic, spicy, dark, rich, elegant fragrance that Sauvage Elixir is, and this one I think is an absolute stunning fragrance for the price. I don't like that term for the price, because if I'm wearing or recommending a cheapie, I like it to be something that is contending with my other fragrances in my collection, my niches like Encre Noir à l'Extrême. That's something that I'll gladly reach for alongside of some of these other fragrances in this list. But this one I think it's approaching that level of quality, but I still would say just get the Elixir. And I say that having worn the Sauvage Elixir for my scent of the day Tuesday. So the price discrepancy between these two is quite large, and I'm torn between saying just get this because it's so much more expensive. It's like 10x the price, and it's really not 10x the smell. So in terms of price value ratio, I think this is the better deal. But just in terms of accomplishing what you're setting out to do, this is, I think, worth saving up for. And the reason I say that is, despite getting a compliment from this one first thing on the shift, it was from a guy. First thing on the shift Tuesday, the server that was also there on this shift immediately just said, "You're wearing Dior." So Dior clearly has a certain level of quality that resonates with at least this woman's nose as opposed to a man's nose. I did get another compliment from a customer on this one that day as well. I deliver for a restaurant, so I'm engaged with random strangers quite a bit in close proximity, but this one only garnered the one compliment. So like I said, this one is just absolutely stunning. I'll go into more detail on the absolute differences and nuances between the two in a separate video comparing these. But in terms of Monday and Tuesday for my wearing experience, I absolutely had a great time wearing both of them. Just a little bit of a better time wearing this one, Sauvage Elixir. Definitely looking forward to wearing it more as the weather begins to cool down. We mostly had nice 70-degree weather throughout the majority of the week. I think the weekend we got a little bit of some rain, but by the afternoon it was nice and sunny again. So good temperate, middle of the road kind of room temperature weather, kind of cool at certain aspects of the day, but nonetheless, this next fragrance for Wednesday perfectly matches that sort of temperate weather, and this is a new one to the collection, a higher end designer fragrance. It's from Hermes, but it's hard to find at the discounters, so I actually ended up buying this directly from Hermes. Full retail. This is Bel Ami Vetiver. So this is, and I'm almost at a loss for words to describe it. This fragrance is immaculate, I think is a good descriptor. It just brings together certain elements of all of my not all of, but many of my favorite autumnal fragrances. This has certain, like, it's got an elemi resin in here that kind of reminds me of like Dior Eau Sauvage. It's got a certain sort of dusty, spicy quality to it, with a cleanness to it from the vetiver and the woods, and just it just has the best pieces of all of my favorite autumn designers in one bottle. Very, very beautiful, elegant, sophisticated, a little bit grown up. I did get a compliment while wearing this one as well. It's definitely got like an old money vibe. It's somewhat reserved and not shouting, but it has that rich, polished wood kind of vibe with the added bit of sweetness that rounds it all out and just makes it very wearable and likable, while also being something super unique. Nobody else is wearing this or gonna smell like this. Shout out to Ramsey though, he's the one that actually influenced me to pick this one up. Very glad that I did. Definitely my favorite Hermes in my collection now, for sure. More so than any from the Terre line or Un Jardin or H24. This is my go-to Hermes fragrance right now. Absolutely stunning juice, Bel Ami Vetiver. Definitely check it out. I don't know if you can sample it. Maybe add yourself to some mailing lists. I think when Joma Shop does have it in, it's about half off retail. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there on Wednesday though. Thursday, another fragrance I picked off of Ramsey's recommendation. This is Guerlain Heritage. So this is a vintage gold cap formulation. I think this is how the bottles look on Fragrantica's database, but they come in the L'Homme Ideal bottles now. I haven't tried the most recent formulations, but I hear that they're still a very good fragrance. I'm gonna try and get one of those when I can. Been kind of hard to justify picking one up because I'm still trying to try new stuff and expand my palette to make the best sort of top 10 recommendations that I can, having a wider scope of knowledge. But so far, Guerlain Heritage, beautiful sort of sandalwood patchouli based barbershop fragrance. You get that nice clean barbershop smell, classic manly lavender, but then it's sweetened up with a very nice sandalwood and patchouli. Does remind me very much of the 90s. It has a very optimistic feel to it, just well put together, and it reminds you of a time when society was a little bit more well put together. At least it does for me, because it harkens back to scent memories from the 90s. I would say someone around me must have worn this, and don't blame them. Excellent stuff. Perhaps might be my favorite Guerlain in my collection as well. So quite a nice elegant sort of week for me looking at this rotation. For Friday, Sartorial from Penhaligon's. Again, a little bit of a barbershop fragrance. This one adds some beeswax, some honey, and a certain element of steam. Kind of like what you might get in like the H24 line, like that little bit of a metallic steam, some nice beeswax and honey to sweeten it up and give it a unique textural feel from the waxiness, meant to capture the scent profile of a tailor's workshop. This barbershop fragrance, Sartorial from Penhaligon's, is Bertrand Duchefort is the perfumer, so it's a bit of a magical potion, you could say. He's definitely one of my favorite perfumers. I actually have another from him in this list coming up for tomorrow's or Saturday. But like I said, this one is just like an absolutely stunning English barbershop fragrance. You get some warmth and nuance from that steam, honey, beeswax. It just makes it very cozy, and it's a cozy barbershop fragrance is a good way to put it. Two things that don't really mesh that well together, because on the one hand, it's very clean, fresh, and you know, almost, I don't want to say sharp, but sharp like dressed in a sense. But then the coziness in here also just makes you feel like yeah, it's just a good juxtaposition of clean and cozy. Somebody that kind of has like a go-getter, alpha A-type personality sort of vibe, but also a comfy, cozy, grandfatherly, warm hug kind of atmosphere as well. The lavender in here is stunning also. I highly recommend sampling this one. I got a really good deal on it. I don't know if I would pay what they're going for at full retail for sure on this one. Definitely keep your eye out though. They're hard to come by at the retailers, but definitely one worth having in your collection for sure. One of my favorite barbershops. That's Sartorial from Penhaligon's. Okay, I said I had another Duchefort fragrance in this list, and this was my Saturday fragrance of the day, Copal Azur. Saturday was actually an awesome day. I think I got this in Friday night. I did a like my top 4 blue fragrances, Mount Rushmore blue fragrances, was a tag video. Featured this one in there. Azur is a word that means it's got its roots in meaning blue, like azure. It usually has an E on the end, but this copal is a type of resin. So this is like a really nice oceanic, salty, ozonic cold, brisk opening, and then it dries down into the best frankincense that I've ever smelled in a fragrance. Not quite smoky, but more of like a fizzy, cola, effervescent, deep, rich, resinous quality going on. There's also some other sweet accords in here. I think maybe some amber, maybe some cardamom. Definitely just a unique, artistic composition for sure, and one of my personal signatures now. This alongside Hommage à l'Homme from Lalique. These are two unique fragrances in my collection that I know not many people are wearing that I like to rock as signatures. I might have to make this one my scent of the day today. I think it's a good atmosphere for it. This one I think is great for the autumn because the dry air mingles well with the salt in here, and then those little bit of warmth that's still in the air that you don't get in the winter makes this also pop and kind of burst off your skin a little bit better too. So summer nights and the autumn I think are a great time for this one. Definitely sample it. It's very expensive, but if you are a fan of Bertrand Duchefort's, as am I, he's done this one right here as well as Jubilation from Amouage. Definitely check this one out. This is Copal Azur from Aedes de Venustas. And then finally for Sunday, again, this is a recent addition to the collection. I got it from an Aura fragrance haul. I picked up Roja Enigma, this, and BR 540. Wasn't that interested in either this or BR 540, but I wanted to get them in the collection to compare with dupes, because these are some of the more frequently duped fragrances, and I want to get some good content for people and compare some clones going forward. But this was a good wear. I do think that the longevity is kind of poor on it, so I don't know if I am recommending this one yet, but it is. I can see why it's cloned as often as it is, because the short amount of time you do have it, it's awesome. This is Tom Ford's Oud Wood. So like I said, you know, if you smelled Versace Oud Noir, the scent profiles are very, very similar. I actually put this and Versace's Oud Noir on. There are some differences. I'm looking forward to doing a video on those differences. But if you've smelled that, or I haven't smelled any of the Maison Alhambras, I'm sure they get really close to it as well. But this is just kind of like a nice, very, very smooth, almost borderline creamy, almost like sour wood. I think is a good palette identifier there. It's got a little bit of a sour sweet wood, sour sweet woodiness. It's just a good way to describe it. Very smooth, elegant, clean, a little bit light, good office fragrance, I would say. It doesn't smell like oud at all. But yeah, it's very excited to have it in the collection. I definitely, especially if I'm just going nose blind on the performance, or if the performance gets better through maceration, I think this is gonna rise way up in my favorites in my collection. But as of right now, it's very enjoyable, just not long lasting enough, at least in this current formulation. But looking forward to smelling some more dupes on this one, getting some more wears, and doing some comparison videos, especially with Versace Oud Noir. So subscribe and stay tuned for future videos. Look forward to those if you're interested. And as always, I appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. Let me know what your weekly rotation was in the comment section down below. Let me know if you've tried any of these and what your thoughts on them are. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.